think what I'm going to show is some of my favorite stuff from the various parts of the trip. So, I just want to say that's very yes, I'm very. That's not the weather. That's how much of the day I have. So like, for the first day, I'm only there for a night, then full days, and then there's a train in the morning, so I only have a half day. But yeah, so this makes things rather easy to explain. So I was in 4 different cities. Started in Tokyo because that's about the only place that you can fly in properly. Then I went to Kyoto, Nara, and eventually all the way over to Hiroshima, which is further in the west. And the first 3, Tokyo, Kyoto, and Nara, at all points were the permanent capital of Japan at some point, so they tend to collect things like temples and shrines and things that people with money can build. So I'm a big fan of architecture and gardens and things that require money to build. So that's the reason I chose those. As I mentioned a little earlier, probably can't go through everything, so I'm just going to pick a few things. So generally speaking, Tokyo is more of the sort of cosmopolitan type city. So one thing I really liked there was really neat architecture in like some of the shopping districts. So I'll show some of the buildings there. And another thing, there's a particular building on Odaiba, the TV tower, which I just love. You will see photos of that from like every conceivable angle when I'm approaching it. And since it's a little bit interesting to people, there's a little bit of pop culture in Japan and Akihabara. So I'll mention some interesting things over there. So start with interesting buildings in the Omote Sando area, which is like sort of a shopping district. So there's a lot of stuff here. Let me see if I can filter. Filter by at least 1 star. So I'm going to go through these really fast. So this is starting at the very far end. This is the Olympic Stadium. And it'd be really cool if I had like a plane to go on top of it, but it's sort of, almost think of it as like a stingray building, sort of flapping along, except it's a stadium. Oh, and there was a girl who was like dancing in the park, probably for like a music video, because she's like way too talented for doing this normally. I wonder if I can play this. It's not in very good resolution, but and there's like a whole like little film crew that's set up right there. So they're doing something over there. So, all right. So let's move on. Oh, let me skip this. There is a shrine that's in that area. Whoa. So, okay. Interesting buildings in the shopping district. So, like, this is like hexagonal armor plating or something on it. I'm not sure. Let me see if I can tell it's a full screen. Full screen, full screen, full screen. Hold on. Technical difficulties. Here we go. So apparently that's like American Eagle building. And then there's this building that's like to have like a hole punched into it or something. It's like a whole like mirror thing going up. And there's this weird critter inside. I don't know what he's doing. Which building is this? There's another building. So I'm just going to flip through these, I guess. Yeah, there's a place selling pianos. Oh, this is kind of a neat building. So it's sort of like you took the Eiffel Tower and then you chopped off the top half of it. You you stood glass in the middle instead of air. So it was like a maze. Oh yeah, and they have Apple Store. That's like the Japanese keyboard. You got special buttons for changing to the Kana characters and then the Roman characters. So I thought that was kind of neat. And the parentheses, they're in the wrong place. This would be horrible to type on if you're programming. The parentheses are off by 1. And then it's changed. It's down here. Same thing happened on like German keyboards. I was tutoring someone in Germany, and then I was having the most awful time typing because the parentheses were just not in the right place. So, let's see. Whoops. More cool buildings. Fuji. I don't know. I did find the Apple Store, but it's an Apple Store. It's cool architecture, but it's the same cool architecture everywhere. So.
I didn't know that they have like Western stores in Japan because
when I
go to Hawaii, it feels like they essentially taking apart all the stores.
Yeah, a lot of
from Japan. They don't have anything from the US there.
Yeah, they do actually. Not in. So there's a different area. So this is the Omotesando area. There's like the high-class shopping district in Ginza, which is later in this deck, which has stuff from like Tiffany's with like necklaces that are more than $10,000, and I was looking at that. Oh, this is like a stitched building or something. I don't know what this is. And then another neat one. Let's see. I'm not supposed to take pictures inside, but I managed one. This is just neat architecture in Tokyo. I figured I'd start there. Oh yes, Georgia. Yes. So I mentioned I'm from Georgia and from Seattle, and they thought that Georgia was more the coffee place than Seattle because of this drink, which is very common. So yeah, it's a coffee drink. It's made by the Coke Company. So, but you can't buy it in Georgia, real Georgia. You can only buy it in Japan, for whatever reason. Just more neat stuff, another stitched building. This is it's like a neat alley that's like next to the subway station. I don't know what the deal is. There's a Hello Kitty store. Hello Kitty. Oh, here's the Apple Store. They have really big department stores. They have a whole floor selling just suits. More neat stuff. So there's Louis Vuitton. There's Tiffany with ridiculously expensive necklaces. Let's see. More neat buildings. All right, that's about the end, I think. Roppongi. So let's see. This evening I stayed in Roppongi. So there's this guy called Mori. He's kind of the Donald Trump of Japan. So he's a big real estate guy. So he bought up all these properties in like the Roppongi area. He built this tower. It's apparently ridiculously expensive to live in. And let's see. Somewhere in here there's a Tokyo Tower. Oh yeah, they understand Halloween, which is interesting. There's Tokyo Tower. All right. So that's probably it for neat architecture. So that's neat architecture in Tokyo. Let's see. Just do a quick skip over to Odaiba. Oh yes, that's true. So this is Odaiba and Asuka. So there's, let's see, I think it's Sensoji. It's a temple complex, so they've got this 5-story pagoda. And really, really large wooden buildings. Apparently, you can see that I'm not alone here. There's like a zillion people. So there's Asian tourists as well, for sure. Let me see. Oh yeah, people wearing kimonos. It happens. It's kind of neat. All right, where am I actually going? Skipping forward. Oh god, that was funny too. So let's go to Odaiba. Odaiba. Yes, it was a Statue of Liberty. Yes, they have a small Statue of Liberty on Odaiba. Let's see. All right, so this big orb thing is the Fuji TV tower on Odaiba, which I didn't get to see much of Odaiba, but I thought it was so cool. You'll see lots of pictures on it to get close. There's Santa too. Yeah, so there's a random Statue of Liberty. Apparently, so like at night, there's a sort of a balcony-ish area where you can like look over onto the Statue of Liberty, and it's all lit up and nice. There's lots of couples hanging out there. Apparently, it's considered one of the more romantic areas in Tokyo. So I thought that was kind of, yeah, they have a Statue of Liberty. So TV tower is supported by this really neat block structure. It is it's actually the Fuji TV tower. So it's the Fuji TV headquarters. So there's this tunnel here that goes up. On the intermediate levels, they try and lure you in to see like information about their new upcoming shows, which to me, of course, make absolutely no sense. So I sort of ignored it. So if you go up this tower, up this area, got a viewing area. Apparently there's a let's see, reason rod, Ferris wheel. There we go. Yeah, it could be. So this is like inside the orb, looking out. And I caught a UFO or something. I didn't notice this until I looked at the photos afterwards. I have no idea what that is. Yeah, there's the Statue of Liberty down below. Let's see. Oh, and this orb thing has its own mascot. There are a lot of things in Japan that have their own mascot. So it's this either blue-purple dog thing. Sort of cute. Lots of random movie posters. Well, this to me looks like Japanese gangster or something. I sort of see bling. See ridiculous stuff. Okay. Then looking around the orb again. Let's see if there's anything else here. Oh, there's the orb. And there's a better picture. Okay. Let's see. Oh yeah, there's a Gundam. There's a Gundam just chilling out in the park on Odaiba. I don't know why. I think so. It's been there for a while. I was sort of expecting it to like move or do something at some point, which it might actually. But I don't know. Stared at it for like 10 minutes and it didn't move. So I'm guessing it's stationary. Okay, I think that's everything on Odaiba. Oh yeah, the buildings light up a lot at night on Odaiba. So this entire building is animated. Yeah, start 1800, which is 6 p.m. So I don't know. Oh yes, sushi. It's tasty. Now it's night. Let's see, anything else? Nope. Oh, okay. This is random. So something that happens a fair bit in like Japanese hotels is they give you paper cranes, either like on your pillow or with somewhere in your room. In the case of Kyoto, there is a really nice Japanese style inn where they like folded 5 of them for me. see that a little bit later. Whoop. Whoop. All right, so that's Odaiba in Tokyo area. I thought that was pretty neat. And last one, Akihabara, which is like Japanese pop culture type area. I'll just scan through that. Let me find it. It's Tokyo National Museum. Whoa, here we go. Let me see. So it's about here. All right, full screen. Let's see. All right. Akihabara, which is shopping area for people who are interested in electronics, anime, anything of that sort. There's an awful lot of like vertically oriented buildings that you go into in order to find the stuff. So this is one particular random building near the station, Radio Icon. So we've got all kinds of things on sale here, from like figurines. What's up? 100. Oh, so you just chop off 2 zeros and then it's dollars. Yeah. So some of these, yeah. So figures run about like $30, $40. It depends on size and other factors. So that's 30. These are like trading cards. So these are usually these vary from like, let's see, these are expensive, 248. It's because they're signed. So yeah, I was talking to the person next to him, like, those are really expensive. And he's like, it's signed. So these are expensive. Let's see. They've got manga. Some of the stuff you wouldn't believe. This is classic. This is like Lupin the Third. And yeah. So the guy down in the lower left here, he's sort of like Indiana Jones, and yeah, and he like steals stuff from banks, and then this guy with the interesting hat, he's like the guy from Interpol that's always trying to capture him, not usually successfully. It's an old series, it's kind of fun. Let's see, everyone loves Ghibli. Unbelievable stuff. So this is, what are these, wall skulls? Wall skulls. Come again? So there are, so some of the stores in the area that are selling more racy items, they have a very large sign that's like over 18 only. And yeah, they didn't care. Or at least no one stopped me. And these are larger models. Those are like about as tall as I was, so I was like, that's kind of impressive. Oh, and if you want to build your own, you can actually build parts, but it's really expensive. So like, if you look at the prices on here, each of these is about like $30 each. So if you actually wanted to build something completely, that will cost you like $200 or $300. So, and actually the larger dolls that were actually already assembled using parts similar to this actually were priced closer to like $200 to $300. There's a price tag on these. Let's see. Yeah, this one's $600.
This might be a piece of plastic.
Yeah.
I can just do 3D printing.
Well, maybe you can now, but I don't know if you could do it before. So these are dolls. What is this? Models. Oh, there's arcade games as well. think that Michael mentioned to a few people that pachinko is a really big deal. It's basically like their gambling thing. But of course, there's also the more traditional type of arcade games. Street Fighter 2. Classic. Oh, right. Maid cafes. This is something interesting. As far as I can tell, these only exist in Japan, and it's sort of like a role-playing restaurant where the staff are dressed up as these like French maid characters, and they're very polite to you and welcome home master and this sort of thing. Of course, all in Japanese. So I was like, well, okay, I'm here. Why not try it? And it's a lot easier for them to say my name as Davey than to say David, because V's are hard and words that end not in vowels are difficult. So Debbie is my name over there. Davey. That's how they'd say it. So in English you read it like Debbie, but they'd say Davey. And so our standard fare at these places is like Sundays. There's some sort of pastry thing they do ketchup with. I don't remember. And picture. So they're like, okay, be cute. So she's a bunny and I'm a cat, apparently. No, it's just the food costs a lot. So like I think I paid something like $15 for that Sunday, which is like double price I pay anywhere else. So no, so yeah, tip does not. Japan does not do tipping at all. They will be very confused if you do so, and they'll run after you saying you forgot your money. So yeah, no tipping in Japan. Let's see. So that's it's a little bit of Japanese pop culture. Let's see. All right, we got about half time here. Okay, so that's Tokyo. So Tokyo, kind of cosmopolitan, new stuff. For most of the other areas, like Kyoto and Nara, you see lots and lots of temples and gardens and other things of that sort, less big shiny buildings. So for Kyoto, what I think I'll show, my favorite general area was called Arashiyama, which is like, so Kyoto is surrounded by mountains on all sides, and the interior of Kyoto is not too interesting, but if you go to the sides of Kyoto, to the sides near the mountains, that's where you start getting the really interesting old stuff. And Arashiyama is on the northwestern side of central Kyoto. So that's one area I'll show. And let's see, I will also show perhaps, which of these can I show? So I can show either the Sento or the Katsura Villa, which are both excellent gardens. And I have to show you a Ryokan, because it's a traditional Japanese style inn. It is an event of itself to go to one of these. All right, I think that'll do. Arashiyama. Let's see. Now we're getting into photos I haven't fully sorted. Let's see. All right, so Arashiyama. So for a little bit of context, when I was in Kyoto and Arashiyama, that's when the typhoon hit Japan. So there are not too many people in these photos because you should imagine me with a heavy raincoat and an umbrella just going through the area, myself mostly. So let's see. Let me see how this is organized. I went through the bamboo grove. Let's see. So maybe this won't come out quite as well in pictures. But the cool thing about Arashiyama is if you just wander around the neighborhood, it's just cool. Like, the houses are neat. So let me just see. So probably go through this a little quickly. So this is like a flood grate, minor stuff. So there's just like temples and stuff I'm wandering by. These are just there. I don't even know what they're called. These are random people's houses.
How expensive are
I
they?
have no idea.
Did you check like for sale?
They don't seem to do for sale signs because I did not see a single for sale sign while I was in Japan, or at least I couldn't read them.
That's not popular, I would say. The huge for sale signs.
Maybe they list them some other way.
They listed it in the newspaper.
Oh, I see. Okay. So this is just like wandering around.
That's kind of right now.
So here's something that's a little famous. There's a bamboo grove leading to a lot of the interesting temples in Arashiyama. So there's just these pathways with these huge bamboo shoots that are off to the sides. Random graveyard. Bamboo shoots, bamboo shoots. There's a temple. It's a Shinto shrine. You can tell because it's got the story gate in that particular configuration and the white lightning bolt things. I don't know what they are, but they're always there. Sometimes the torii are red, sometimes they're stone, sometimes they're wood. My hypothesis is if it's red, then it's highly maintained, and if it's any other color, then it's less maintained. And they usually have these pillars next to them, which either have the temple name or it says something in Japanese along the lines of no smoking here, no be reverent or something along these lines. So this is just a Shinto temple. This is like a water purifying station. You can see these dippers are here. And there's a particular way that you dip the water in. You put some in one hand, you put some in the other hand, and then you pull the dipper up such that the water comes over the handle itself to clean the dipper from the next person who wants to use it. And they usually it's for washing. You should think of it. Yeah, it's like think of it as hand purification, effectively.
Is it like a religious thing?
Yeah, think holy water. They usually have some sort of dragon near the spigot. Let's see.
Are they like all religious?
So religion's a little bit interesting because the popular religions seem to be either Shinto or Buddhism, but these are not exclusive religions. In particular, many people are both. The religious buildings that you run into are typically either shrines or temples, that is, Shinto shrines or Buddhist temples. They're marked either on the map as a little torii sign or as, for Buddhist shrines are marked with a reverse swastika, because the swastika is actually a reverse of the Buddhist symbol, which is confusing if you don't know that. The first time you're looking at a map and you see all the swastikas, or seeming swastikas around. So this is crossing over the train, more bamboo grove. There's a lot of temples in this area. Temple, 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 temple. So this is just walking around the neighborhood. Again, things are just kind of cool. Random statue, neighborhood. Gates. Let's see. You can see I like maps. Another random person's house.
Do they have like a personal garden or something, like take care of the garden?
I'm not sure. It could be that. It could be like Seattle, where people just really like their gardens. Not sure.
That would be very rich.
Yeah. And every city in
Sometimes
every city in Japan seems to have their own like manhole cover. Some that are more interesting than others. This is like the one that you see in Kyoto. This is one you see in Arashiyama specifically. Just more. This is a bathroom. I mean, you see the bamboo trash can, bamboo lined stuff. I'm like, just neat stuff. Just walking around. Here's just a little graveyard floating around. Trash cans are pretty rare in Japan, actually. I was surprised when I ran into those. More random houses. Oh yeah, they've got these interesting tile things. Let's see, what else? Somewhere here. So the roofing on this house is a little interesting. This is a traditional style roof. I forget what it's made out of, but the thing is you have to rebuild it like every 2 years or so. So it's not too popular these days. So whoever's doing this roof is a fan.
There was a article recently on that housing basically when you buy the land and all that every time.
Yeah, so what I read is like the Japanese really don't like used things or old things. So like buying old houses and then using the house as it was would probably not be.
It's hopefully developed for
Oh, because earthquakes weaken things over time, or?
well, they generally assume the house is destroyed anyway.
Oh.
They don't want it their own.
I see. Okay. That's interesting. Okay. Continuing.
It is a volcanic island.
Yeah, that's why there's so many hot springs too. Nice. It's another. I don't remember which. This is like an enormous temple of some kind. Just neat patterns. There's a lot of sort of semi-art that you see in like regular stuff like walkways, and I think there was the flood grading before that looked like it had like a waffle pattern. There's just a lot of neat little things in various places. See, there's a bell tower, very common. There's a big gate, also common. 2-story pagoda, which is weird. Usually you see like 5 or 13 or 15, but not 2. So let's see. There's another purification area. And somewhere here there's, let me see, this is Arashiyama. So this doesn't have the garden I'm looking for. Okay. So this is about it for Arashiyama. It's just a neat place to walk around. Really neat place to walk around. Let's see. As for like top tier gardens, I can show you either the Katsura Imperial Villa, which I can book like 3 months in advance, or I can show you the Sento Imperial Palace, which is also similar. I can also show you Nanzenji, which to show. Okay. Yeah. Sento was similarly booked in advance. Nanzenji, I wasn't even planning on visiting, but then I improvised the plan. So let's take, yeah, actually most of it happened the same day. Yeah, Katsura. Let's go to Katsura. Katsura Imperial Villa, starting from the overview. So this is an overview of the palace grounds. This is more or less made by a prince who wanted the perfect garden and didn't care how much he had to pay to get it. So it's got huge. There's a water area, and there's like 6 or 7 different buildings that are surrounding this this sort of semi-lake. There's a couple bridges. Most of the garden area is covered by moss, which is very sensitive to you trampling on it. So there are stepping stones that you go through for a lot of the area in this garden. So, and yeah, you can only enter it escorted with a group, so you'll see more people here. So this is just walking along the entrance. Then there's a gate. Stop here for a moment. They've got these sort of interesting bamboo fences. Let's see. What else we got here? Oh, so this is a case where you've got stepping stones and there's like moss all around you. Now somewhere in here we're going to get to the lake. Okay, so I said there's like 5 or 6 buildings that are around. That's one of them. Let's see. Need a better view. Okay. Let me double check to make sure. It's been around since at least the 1700s.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so this is a little view over the river. Not sure how well you can see this, but it's very, very nice. Very, very nice.
Yeah.
And there's our friendly tour guide with personal amplifier. Yeah, it's something that's a little bit interesting about Japanese garden design is they try to make it such that you can't see the entire garden from any one place. So most of these pictures would be considered incomplete with respect to giving a complete overview of the garden simply because they're trying not to let me do that. There is in fact one place, which I'll show you later on, where you would be able to see the entire garden, but they stick a tree right in front of that area to deliberately block your view. So, okay, so I mentioned there's like 5 or 6 buildings around. This one is an old tea house. Tea houses are typically designed with a very small entrance like this, which is so designed to make it very difficult to enter carrying a sword. Because the idea is when you enter a tea house, everyone is of equal stature, and in particular, the samurai are not of higher stature. They were sort of at the top of the caste system back in such times. So you got sliding doors. That checkerboard pattern is very unusual. Haven't seen it in any other places. So still wandering around. And there's a lot of cases where they seem to have propped up trees. Keep the trees around, not exactly sure. Moss-covered walkway, continuing. Alright. So continuing to walk around this area. So, all sort of similar stuff here. It's very nice to be there, and the birds were chirping, and you could hear stuff, and it's a nice perfume of the wind, which doesn't get reflected in these photos naturally. Oh, this is interesting. So there were a few viewing houses. One of the structures here was specifically for viewing the moon. This window right here is specifically designed to look over farmland, except that there wasn't any direct farmland here, so they made some. So they made farmland such that you could see it when looking out the window. And then another one of these windows, I think, it must be a different building. There's a different building here that looks out onto maples, which are changing color. Let's see, this building, I forget, I think this is the moon viewing. The area on this building to the upper right is designed to look down at the lake where the moon is in the center. Oh, here we go. So this is one of the windows that's designed to look out at the maples changing color. There's our guide again. This is a neat roof. It's designed, so you can't quite see well on this projector, but the only support for this roof is this little beam here, which is it's actually an optical illusion. It makes the roof seem a lot lighter than it actually is. Which I thought was kind of neat. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Here's the shade tree. If this tree wasn't here, you could see the entire garden from this spot. But they decided that was no good. So they stuck a tree in the way. All right. So that's that. All right. So that's one neat garden. Let's see. Up next, let's skip to a Japanese style inn. Oh, I have to show you this vending machine. This is the boss. This is the macho coffee machine with appropriate people featured as such. All right, let's see. Skipping forward. Skipping forward. Da 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 da. All right, so we're looking at about here. Here we go. All right, so this is the Gion district, which is where the geisha in Tokyo live. Generally a very nice area. Also happens to be where my Ryokan, Japanese-style inn, was for the evening. And the inn is actually directly off of the main street where the geisha quarters were. So if you just like hang out on the street, you can typically see them moving extremely fast to wherever their next appointment is. So it's kind of neat. Although this is not a geisha, this is the founder of Kabuki. So this is Shinbashi Dori. All right, so Ryokan. It's a little different than your typical hotel. There's sort of etiquette and protocol that goes involved. So first off, you tell them when you're going to arrive, and then you should make sure that you arrive at about that time because they'll be expecting you then. They'll take your shoes. They'll give you some green tea, and in this particular case, they gave me a boat cookie and have you sign in. And provide you with yukata. Oh, I didn't show you my picture of me in a yukata. I'll have to do that later. So this is sort of the room layout. You've got sliding doors. You've got the low table where you eat. Yeah, this is the traditional Japanese style inn, Ryokan. So I hesitate to call it hotel, but it is my lodgings for sure. Because hotels don't give you this kind of service typically. So sliding doors. So you take off your shoes when you get into the building, then they trade you for building slippers. But when you get into your room itself, you take off those slippers and then just proceed in your socks. So there's a lot of, and if you go into the garden in the center of the Ryokan, there's garden shoes as well. So there's a lot of shoe changing that happens at various places. So here's a bath. Something that's a little interesting with a Japanese-style bath is the expectation is that you completely clean yourself off before you get into the water, which makes sense in public baths where everyone is sharing the same bath water. But they also extend that in some cases to home settings. So there's a little stool you can sit on and clean yourself before you get in. And that bathing etiquette is a very good idea to know about in Japan, because that's one place where they will not give you any slack as a foreigner. If you get soap into a public bath, they will be mad. So don't do that. You can screw up many other things, and they'll be like, "Oh, you're a foreigner. You don't know." In fact, with many baths, they won't let you in if you're a foreigner because they're like, they probably don't know. We're not going to risk it. So another neat thing with Ryokan, they serve you dinner and breakfast, and not just anything. They save you so-called kaiseki ryori, which is like we call it the hot, H-A-U-T-E cuisine of old Japan. So they have various fish dishes which are prepared based on both the time of year and the location that you're in. I don't know what any of this is called, but it's really tasty. Got your tea. Got various assorted yummy bits. Some of this you can dip. I think those are plums. Let's see, this is, so yeah, they serve you dinner in your room, usually with a personal attendant, which is kind of neat. Hasn't been laid out yet. So that's another thing. So the protocol is you arrive, you take a bath, or you otherwise wash up, and then they serve you dinner. And then you need to sort of disappear for a little bit. In my case, I went out to the garden and I went out to explore beyond. And while you're doing that, they'll lay out your bed while you're gone, such that when you get back, there's a futon. So, yes. And everyone seems to know who you are when you go into the Ryokan. So like, when I went out, there was a different person who met me than when I came in. They knew which set of shoes was mine. And when I started to go out pretty close to when they were serving like dinner or breakfast, they're like, you'll need to be back in like 20 minutes. So that better be a short walk. so yeah, they know. This is the entrance from at night. This is just walking around beyond at night. Nothing too much to see, but kind of interesting. So this is the futon. Yep, and some information about the geisha who are floating around. There are two kinds. There's the maiko, the red sash. They're the younger variety. And then there's the geiko. They have a white sash. They're the elder geisha, as you would say. Only the geiko, the elder, are allowed to dance for you, but they have lots of different skills for entertaining people, telling stories, dancing if they're of age. Probably some other things that I don't remember, because I have not been entertained by this variety yet. Very, very expensive. Oh, something else that was nice. The Ryokan gave us a complimentary informal tea ceremony in the evening as well. So, let's see. You can't see this on the projector properly. I can't see this at all on the projector. No, so they do that on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and you better believe I factored that in on my decision of what date to book my accommodation with them. Again, yeah, I plan, so I find out about these things. So here's the futon again. If you go into the garden, these are the garden geita or whatever that you use. This is breakfast, so they serve you breakfast as well. All very tasty. Who knows what it is? That one's egg. A little bit reformulated from your traditional egg, but still egg. This is some kind of like rice noodle and tofu, tasty sauce to dip things in. By the way, their tofu's good. Oh yes, and paper cranes. So yeah, apparently for this Ryokan they actually fold them on site. So the lady who actually folded them was like, "Would you like the cranes? I folded them just for you." I like bunnies. Oh, let's see. We never went over. There's no. Yes. I don't. So there's yeah, you can have it like spray you in different ways. You can have a heated seat. You can have it do oscillating stuff. You can spray forward and back. And then there's like the panic stop, don't do anything more button. The one that has a special color there. I was like, I can play with this as much as I want, as long as I know that button will stop anything that it's doing. And this is a misspelled meat bowl. Here's our friend exiting. Okay. Let's see. Running out of time for an hour. What else did I show? So went over gardens, went over Ryokan. stuff that I really liked.
Hiroshima,
Yeah. So Hiroshima. I could show something in Nara, or I could show something in Hiroshima. Let's show a little bit of Nara. Nara is interesting. So Nara is fairly well known for Nara Park, where you have lots and lots of deer who are wandering around just freely, and there are people who are selling biscuits, which you can feed to them. They're a little bit aggressive too. So one of them came up to me from behind and made a map out of my pocket. So yeah, they're very accustomed to people. They like the deer biscuits that are being sold, and they very much want them. So, and there is a hilarious thing where there are some kids who are like throwing stuff into the water. There's this deer coming up from the side of them, and I knew something funny was going to happen. Yeah, the deer came right up and like, whoa! Jump back. And unfortunately, I did not get to capture that properly, but that was pretty fun. Let's see. There are various gardens here. Let's see. Deer is popular and they know it. So they've got lots of advertising of that sort here. So let's see. So there's various gardens. Oh, let's show you the Daibutsu. Yeah, so probably the really famous temple here. Whoa. All right, let's start here. Whoops. Let's see. Oh yeah, here's a little warning sign with a deer. Let's see. I think I saw about 2 of these things happen at various points in the park. They can grab your bag. They can go after the little children. And if they still have antlers, then they're a little bit more troublesome. So this is, I think this is Todaiji. It's the building containing like the largest or one of the largest Buddha sculptures that exist. Yeah, Todaiji. Okay. And I can't remember if it's this one or there's one of the temples I went to in Nara, or I guess it is one of the temples I went to in Nara. It's like the largest wooden building in the world. Yeah, this is a really big complex. And let's see. So that's the Daibutsu. Really, really big statue of Buddha. People laying out candles. This is it from the side. Yeah, full picture there. And so these statues are a little bit interesting. You see them on like either sides of most gates that lead into temples. They, as far as I can tell, they protect the entrance of temples and shrines. In this case, they're inside the temple. Oh, this is interesting. So there's a pillar on the right side of the temple of the large Buddha statue, which is like the great saint's nose or something, and it's considered like really, really big luck if you're able to fit through it, which in practice means that little kids have very good luck, because they're the ones who can fit through that little hole. So let's see. Yeah, this is just a neat building itself. Lots and lots of school groups in this area. Yeah, they're everywhere. They're called shika in Japanese. Yep, they're all over the place. They're all over the place. Let's see. All right, I might have to cut this short. Katsura Taisha, that was sort of an interesting place to wander through. Let's see. La 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 la. There are just lots and lots of neat gardens and stuff that are floating around. This is one that's a little bit more bare bones than usual. This one was actually $1 to enter, which is like far and below the least expensive one. Has no structures on it, which is a little bit unusual. But it has like these bridges. That was kind of neat. All right. All right. So, what else have we got? Let's see. Okay, for those who are interested in staying for just a little bit longer, I think I'll try to show a little bit of Peace Park in Hiroshima, which is sort of the big attraction with the atomic bomb dome. And like for those who stay even longer, I'll show Onomichi, which is a hillside town which is reachable from Hiroshima that, again, was a really neat place to walk through. I'm not sure if it'll come through on the pictures, but it's literally a hillside town. Like, the houses and everything are built on this giant hill that's slanting, and then the roads, they're not really roads, they're really walkways, and they go all over the place, and they're really only traversable by foot or bike. So, continuing to Hiroshima. So, atomic bomb dome. Oh, worth mentioning, they're really big baseball fans in Hiroshima. This is the local team, the Carps. They basically own the color red in Hiroshima. So if you see anything red in Hiroshima, it's probably related to them. So let's see. I think, yep, atomic bomb dome was one of the first things I ended up going to. It's probably worth mentioning. So it's one of the very few buildings that was left standing when the bomb was dropped. And I think the reason is the bomb was dropped almost exactly on top of this building. And so all the pressure went down, but nothing went to the side. So it destroyed the dome itself, but it left like all the walls and everything standing. And when they were rebuilding the city afterwards, most of the buildings that were damaged were torn down, but this one was left standing originally because it was more difficult to tear down than the others. But then later, the residents petitioned that it be preserved as a memorial to remember the event. So I've got a couple views of this building. Here we go. That's a good view. And so the atomic bomb dome is in this large area called Peace Park, which has a lot of smaller monuments that are related to the event. So this is one of the smaller items in the park. There is also a museum in the park, which you should totally go to. Although, fair warning, it will ruin the rest of your day. Because it shows all the devastation, all the people that were killed, and the way people have the flesh burned off them, and other gruesome bits from the actual explosion. So that's the bomb over the dome area. This is like all the buildings. Most stuff totally destroyed. Actually, sorry. That's totally destroyed. Mostly destroyed, and I can't read that last one. Oh no, that's totally collapsed and burned. So there's totally collapsed and burned. Then there's totally collapsed and not burned. Half collapsed, and then just partially collapsed. So basically everything was destroyed. Unfortunately, all of the medical, like the hospitals and medical facilities were all like right in the center of the city, completely wiped out when it hit. So there really was no facilities for caring for anyone in there. It's also worth mentioning that if you are in the bars or talking with people in Hiroshima, that most people have relatives or grandparents or similar who were killed or maimed or otherwise severely impacted by the bomb, so you should be sensitive about that topic if you bring it up when you're talking with the locals. Usually I didn't bother bringing it up. I let them bring it up if need be. So, let's see. Okay, so last thing I wanted to go over, Onomichi, which is not in Hiroshima, but is near Hiroshima. Really need to walk through. Let's see. Let me see if I can find it. Miyajima, also cool. Oh man. You know, Miyajima is so cool. Maybe I'll exchange. Miyajima is literally Shrine Island. So there's an island with a giant shrine on it where the Torii Gate is in the middle of the water. Yeah, so if you're approaching the island, this is kind of what you see. Miyajima. This is a really big Shinto shrine. All red and white. Based on my earlier guess, a highly maintained temple in that case. Let's see. Lots of people maintaining it. A couple buildings. There's a wedding that was done here. So this is a traditional Japanese wedding, usually done in Shinto shrines. They're actually a bit less common now. There was quite a lot of advertisements for things like Metropolitan Wedding, which is like a Western style wedding in Tokyo, which I was sort of amused by. All right, that's a good version. Onomichi. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see. That's still Miyajima. Ah, this is it. At least I think this is it. Yeah, definitely. Okay. So I'm just going to flip through this a little bit. So Onomichi, again, is like a hillside town, so everything's kind of on a slant. You're walking in these sort of alleyways, which are definitely not designed for any type of car traffic, but foot traffic, and in some cases, motorbikes. Really neat place to explore. Your maps are totally useless, pretty much. So you have to find, there are very few good maps for this place. Google Maps is like totally does not understand this place. So I'm just like wandering around. So this is the Onomichi manhole cover. Lots of little things floating around. I think this is right on the top of the mountain. Yeah, this is the top of the mountain. There are a few things up there. Oh yeah, this is. Yeah, so there are a lot of little wild cats that are floating around in various places. I don't know if I'll see them in this Serre area. Let's see. Senkoji. So yeah, if you find a temple, that's how they're marked on a map. So Lots of stuff. Oh, cats. I found cats. There's a place in Nara where there's like a little cat shrine and there's like 6 cats just all over it, asleep. It's great. So yeah, just wandering around this place is neat. There's like an elementary school in session, so you could hear the children playing, and then there's a very specific tone that all the school bells use. Dun, 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 dun. Which you used. I was a little surprised. So this is just wandering through. Lots and lots of stuff in this area. Yeah, this is like a... This temple has to do with monkeys or something? I forget. Oh yeah, and some places you can see where they've added a middle guard such that a bike could go up it. Neat graveyard. Alright, I think we're getting to the end here. Let's see. Hello. Oh, this is ramen actually, I think. Because I was recommended by a couple in Hiroshima to try the ramen in Onomichi. It's a bit spicy, but I like spicy. Yep, that's it. All right. So those are a few of the highlights. There's many, many more. If you ask me for a more extended thing, if you want stuff on gardens, I love gardens. There are tons of gardens here. I think I only showed one. If you like temples, I've got so many temples that you would not believe. Like cool architecture, there's other stuff as well, but this is probably a reasonable slice. So, yeah, Japan. Cool. All right, so I'm going to see if there's any of the sake left so I can drink some. All right, signing off.